What's going on, everybody? King of Dragons 5000 here, coming at you with another figure review. Today we'll be having a look at the Bandai Power Rangers Legacy Collection Build-A-Figure, the Zeo Megazord. Now, the figures you will need to complete the Zeo Megazord are the pink Zeo Ranger, yellow Zeo Ranger, the blue Zeo Ranger, green Zeo Ranger, and the red Zeo Ranger. Together they do form the Zeo Megazord. What we're going to do now is take him off the stand, and then we'll have a better look at the Zeo Megazord. So stay tuned, everyone. And so here we have the Zeo Megazord posed, fully assembled and off the stand. Now, looking at the Zeo Megazord, it doesn't come with any accessories. Most Build-A-Figures don't come with any accessories, and this is no exception. Most of the parts are accessories in their own right, so no surprise that we didn't get anything. Even if we did get a power sword or something, the Zeo Megazord has two closed fists, so it really wouldn't matter. You wouldn't be able to hold a sword or anything. It would have been nice if we got alternate heads that had the pyramid, the bull, and then the cannons that the other Zords came with. But unfortunately, we didn't even get that. So let's actually move on to the details of the Zeo Megazord. And so here we have a closer look at the Zeo Megazord, and first impressions are that this figure looks good. The sculpt is all there. However, like with all the other Zeo Rangers and all the other Power Rangers in this line in general, with the exception of the White Ranger and Green Ranger, the gold on this is really lacking now. They did a good job painting the crest. It's not the best gold that I would have gone with, but it's a really nice gold nonetheless, and you can see the sculpt work on the helmet is done really exceptionally well. Now, paint is where this guy seems to fail the most. Now, we can see that there's a lot of designs on the helmet here that go all around the helmet, going up the crest right there. And you can see they didn't even finish painting it. They just painted the front of this figure and called it a day, which is unacceptable to me. Even on the back of the Firebird, you can see there's sculpt work on the wings right here and on the tail, but we don't get any paint, and that's really bad. It's like the only place that we do have paint is the eyes right here on the Sphinx. But even then, the gold quote-unquote plastic that they used is really lackluster, and it is unfortunate that we didn't get anything better. There's so many things that could have been done about this figure. Again, looking at the shoulders, the sculpt is nice. If it is anything I can say, the sculpting on this figure is pretty accurate, and with the exception of the legs, it pretty much looks like what we saw in this show, and I'll get onto that in a little bit. One thing that I do want to point out is that the fists don't have the blue or the gold painted on the Sphinx like we saw on the show. Again, gold, really terrible. I'll try to stop talking about it, but it's really noticeable. The bull, we don't even get the eyes painted on the bull, and that is unfortunate. We got the eyes painted on the Sphinx. Why couldn't they paint the bull? That doesn't surprise me, because the head is actually painted, so why couldn't they paint the eyes? There's just so many things that this figure does wrong that it's really hard to justify even putting it together. The silver on it is nice, and this is actually a silver sheen that I would have liked to see the gold. If the gold were this type of metallic color, I would have no problem with it, but seeing as how it's not, I do have issues with it. Here we do have a really nice, and I do say that it's really nice, the gold here is painted with a really nice shade of gold. However, nothing on the side, and of course the back is sculpted to have the articulation. Again, nice details all around, but it just feels kind of meh at best. Again, we have really nice painted gold here. And then on this leg, we also do get the painted gold. You can see the silver is done really well. No paint on the cannons right here, and that's really unfortunate. No paint detail on the back. The wheels are just blue instead of being black. And again, we got that really cheap molded looking gold. And just comparing the two golds side by side, you can see this one's a much richer gold. This one's awful. Just awful. And the legs actually seem like they're too long, at least right here in the shin part. If the knees came down to about right here, and then the rest of the sculpt was just the leg, it would look fine, but it has really long legs. I mean, look at how high up that knee joint is. That is not show accurate. That's not even how it was on the original Megazord. The original Zeo Megazord had accurate proportions, so it's just really hard for me to justify having this figure in your collection. It's a really nice looking figure, but there's issues with it. Oh, well, I'm going to stop rambling on. Again, detailing looks really nice, could do with a lot of paint apps, and that's where I'm going to leave that. So what we're going to do now is actually get the Megazord compared to a few other figures you may have in your collection. And so here we have the Zeo Megazord posed next to a DC Multiverse Superman and a Marvel Legends Cyclops. And here we have the Zeo Megazord posed next to a Legacy Green Ranger and a WWE Elite Scale figure. Here we do have the Zeo Megazord posed next to the most recent DC Multiverse Build-A-Fish Trench Creature. Here we have the Zeo Megazord posed next to the Marvel Legends Apocalypse Build-A-Figure. And here we have the Zeo Megazord posed next to the Dino Megazord from the Power Rangers movie. So with the comparisons out of the way, let's actually have a look at this figure. The head is on a ball joint, you can see right here, so I do like that. You can actually pop the head on and off. We do get some slight movement in the head. It can look up only to about there, it can look down. Really minuscule pivot on this figure, but we do get rotation on that joint. Arms are also on a ball joint, so they do move in and out really slightly. It's not the best that we've ever seen. Do rotate all the way around, and surprisingly have really good outward movement. I do like that. No bicep swivel in this figure, but we do get a ratcheting elbow, which I do like that. We also do have a swivel in the wrist. As far as waist goes, let's see. It does have a waist twist, so that's pretty good. No ab crunch of any kind to speak of. Legs are on a ball joint. They do go out to about there. They go forward and back. Really limited because of the sculpting right here on the bull. We do have an inner rotation on that ball joint. And then we get to the knees, which is really questionable articulation. The knees do rotate. We do get a bend, and you can see it's a ball joint. I don't know why we have a ball joint in the knee. You can pivot side to side, forward and back, rotate. I don't know why it wasn't just a standard swivel hinge. The ball joint is a little weird and strange, but I guess it works for the most part. And then we get a ball joint in the ankle, but we don't get too much movement. It goes back to about that far, goes forward about that much, does pivot side to side, and we get really, really little rotation on that. So overall, an okay looking figure. Not the best that we've ever seen, but not by worst by any means. So with all of that out of the way, let's actually get this guy posed for my final thoughts, and then we'll wrap up this review. And so here we have the Zeo Megazord posed for my final thoughts, and overall this is a really okay looking figure. It's not the best Legacy figure that we've ever seen, but by no means is it the worst. I am looking at the movie Alpha 5. This figure is pretty decent at best, and you do need the core 5 Rangers, which is the Pink Ranger, the Yellow Ranger, Green Ranger, Blue Ranger, and Red Ranger, and then you can complete this figure. You don't necessarily need the Gold Ranger, but if you're a completist like I am with Power Rangers, you're going to want to have the whole team, and this Megazord actually looks good posed with the team. Unfortunately, if you don't have the team in front of them, this is a really subpar figure, and I can't justify getting it if this is the only thing you're looking for. So if you're a Power Rangers fan, I'm pretty sure you're going to want to have this guy in your collection. Otherwise, I really can't recommend this figure because there's so many things it does wrong more than it does right. With that being said, guys, I'm KingofDragons 5000. Don't forget to like this video, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel. Go ahead and check out all the other action figure reviews in my collection. Hopefully you find them informative. And as always, if there's a figure you would like to see me review, let me know down in the comments. And if it fits in my collection, I'll definitely have a look at it. Until next time, guys, I'll see you later. Take care, everyone.